free agency pretty much all wrapped up, with the first wave being done and the second wave being done as well. I figured now would be a good time to give my official Buccaneers free agency review for the 2018 season. Now, I've divided this free agency period for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers into three categories, and that is players that they re-signed, players that they signed from other teams, and players that they let go. So let's get right into it with the players that they did re-sign. First being Mike Evans. And obviously Mike Evans is the second most important player on this entire Bucs offense, behind obviously Jameis Winston. So this was obviously a very good move for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, re-signing him to a 5-year deal, $92.5 million. Jameis Winston's top target. He's a top 5 wide receiver in the league. So this was more than likely, it was the hugest signing that the Buccaneers made this entire free agency period. So moving on then to Jameis Winston's second top target, Cameron Brate. We signed him to a 6-year deal. Again, it's very interesting because a lot of fans didn't like this move because they said, well, we're going to run 2 tight end sets. What are we doing? You know, this is stupid. Why did we even draft O.J. Howard? Well, both tight ends got 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. You can't argue with those numbers. Those are good tight end numbers when just having one tight end on the team. And we had 2 tight ends get those numbers. So really, I think Jameis Winston just likes to throw to his tight ends and Mike Evans. And it's a good signing. You can't really deny it. Cameron Brate's proven for the multiple seasons now that he's one of the top pass catchers on this team. He's got good hands. He's good route running. He's just all around a very good tight end, you know, highly underrated, highly underrated. After Cameron Brate and Mike Evans, though, you have Peyton Barber, which, you know, pretty good rotational running back. I feel he won't be the main guy for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He'll be more of a role player, a change of pace back, I guess you could say, but he's shown that he can do some good for this team. He may get some good opportunities later down the season, depending on whether or not we draft a rookie, what round we draft a rookie, I guess I should say, whether or not we sign a running back throughout the remainder of free agency and whatnot. Peyton Barber could get some chances there. Brent Grimes is the next player up that is re-signed, and huge re-signing. If we wouldn't have signed Brent Grimes to a deal, re-signed him that is, the only remaining cornerbacks on the Bucs roster would have been Javian Elliott, Ryan Smith, and Vernon Hargreaves III. So you can understand how big of a signing this was. He didn't fix our cornerback situation under any circumstances, but he really helps bolster it, you know. He is still very old, but he's proving that he can play past his age, and that's huge. Not a lot of players can do that, especially at the cornerback position, given how much athleticism you have to have. And given Brent Grimes' height, his athleticism is phenomenal. So again, very huge signing, and it really was a key factor in helping our secondary at least have something left, you know. Next is Keith Tandy, and depth signing, in my opinion. Keith Tandy should have been the starter last season over Chris Conte, but hey, you win some, you lose some. I don't hate Chris Conte under any circumstances, by the way. But again, I like Keith Tandy a lot. Hopefully he gets a chance to make some plays next season. Maybe he'll be the starter next season. Who knows? But he's a very good special teams player as well. Speaking of Chris Conte, he's another player we re-signed, if you want to call it that. We technically just picked up his option along with DeMar Dodson and Josh Robinson as well. I'm just going to group these guys together and say that it was a good move all around. DeMar Dodson's our best, probably our second best offensive lineman, or our first best. Chris Conte's a fringe starter who can be good depth if he isn't starting, and Josh Robinson is a special teams ace. So all around, good moves to pick up those 3 guys' options. And then Ryan Fitzpatrick was the final guy that I'm going to talk about that we re-signed. I'm just going to be talking about the bigger moves, not necessarily all the moves. But Ryan Fitzpatrick is the guy that we re-signed to be our backup quarterback to Jameis Winston. Played pretty well last year, 2-1 when he did have to start when Jameis Winston was injured. Like a lot of Bucs fans were saying, and just general NFL people were saying, it was going to be between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Mike Glennon, and it ended up being Ryan Fitzpatrick. I like Mike Glennon, but I'm happy with Ryan Fitzpatrick too. We still have some Fitz magic in Tampa, thankfully, and I think he's a fine backup. You know, you could certainly have worse options than Ryan Fitzpatrick. You could have better options, but he's all in all a very, very decent backup. But moving on now to the players that they signed from other teams. Now, this is where it gets pretty interesting, because coming into free agency, the Bucs had a lot of needs. you had both of your guards positions that you needed, left guard and right guard. You had defensive end that was still a huge need. Pass rusher was a huge need. You also had cornerback that was still kind of a need, and you also had safety that you could see as a need and running back that you could see as a need, as well as some other things. So how did the Bucs address these needs coming into free agency? Well, let's take a look. Mitch Unrein was the first signing here with the Chicago Bears. Is the first sign I'm going to talk about. That is, he wasn't the first official signing that the Bucs made, but Mitch Unrein's the first guy I'm going to talk about, and we signed him for a 3-year deal, kind of a little bit of a lesser deal than another player I'm going to talk about next. But he's going to be labeled as a defensive tackle with some players that we let walk during this period of free agency, which we will get to. Mitch Unrein was brought in as depth, and fun fact, Mitch Unrein was the 3rd rated run defender by Pro Football Focus last year in terms of defensive tackles, I believe. So very decent signing. That the defensive line signing for the most part was all about defending the run, except for one defensive end signing we'll talk about in a second here. But Mitch Unrein has also been labeled as very versatile. He can play defensive end in certain packages and stop the run, and he's going to be mainly used as a defensive tackle. So all in all, I like the signing. It is a depth signing, obviously, but we got a very versatile player in Mitch Unrein. The next is Beau Allen from the Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles, and this was a big signing because it's basically the new Chris Baker. What I mean by that is this guy, Beau Allen, is not under any circumstances Chris Baker. What I mean by this is that Beau Allen's going to be that second guy next to Gerald McCoy on most downs now. And from what I've seen on the Mitch Unrein video, a lot of Eagles fans were saying that what I saw in the Beau Allen video, a lot of Eagles fans were saying that Beau Allen, he doesn't get a lot of sacks. He's very good at run defending. Fun fact, he was number 2 by Pro Football Focus in run defending. But Beau Allen creates opportunities to get sacks. That's what makes him so valuable, and that's just what makes him, so good, is that he makes sack opportunities for his teammates. So Gerald McCoy, maybe some other defensive ends that we bring in, they're going to be getting more opportunities to get sacks thanks to Beau Allen, and I really like that. I feel that that's very good. I feel Beau Allen has a higher motor than Chris Baker. A lot of Eagles fans said that to me as well. He has a high motor. He's very versatile. He's very good at run defending, and he's very good at creating opportunities for other players to get sacks. So again, I like this signing a lot. I really do. I like where our defensive tackle position is now, with Gerald McCoy being the starter, Beau Allen being the second guy, I guess you could say, and then Mitch Unrein being a backup. I really like that trio of defensive tackles. That's a very nice trio to have, in my opinion. But moving on to a more recent signing in Vinny Curry, defensive end. Signed him to, I believe, a 3-year, $27 million deal. Big deal, by the way. We had to cut Robert Ayers to make this move happen, unfortunately. But Vinny Curry was, I believe, top 10 in pass rushing, according to Pro Football Focus. So this is where that whole Beau Allen thing comes in. Remember how I just said that Beau Allen likes to create opportunities for other players to get sacks? Well, enter Vinny Curry. Now, Vinny Curry hasn't had more than 8. He hasn't had 8 sacks or more since, I believe, 2015 or something like that. 2016, I believe. But it'll be very interesting to see how he does. Obviously, he didn't get the most playing time in Philadelphia, I believe, so he'll be playing a lot in Tampa Bay. So it'll be very interesting to see if he can be a guy to get double-digit sacks for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We haven't had that in a very long time. So hopefully Vinny Curry can be that guy. A lot of people say we might have overpaid for him, but honestly, I don't believe so. We needed a new we needed a change at pass rusher, and I feel Vinny Curry can be that guy. The age is a little bit concerning at 29, but it's only a 3-year deal. We'll have him until he's 32, which is how old I believe Robert Ayers was. So really, all in all, we've probably got him for the little bit left he has of his prime. So again, not a terrible move by the Buccaneers. But next was Chandler Catanzaro, kicker from the New York Jets, and interesting deal with this one, because a lot of people are scared of kickers in the Bucs fan base, I guess you could say, and I don't blame them. We went from Roberto Aguayo to Nick Folk to Patrick Murray to now to Chandler Catanzaro, and a lot of people are skeptical, and for good reason, I guess you could say. Me personally, I'm putting all of my faith into Chandler Catanzaro, because I do that with every single kicker we get. But I do understand it when some Bucs fans say, like, I have to close my eyes every time Chandler Catanzaro, or every time a Bucs kicker kicks a field goal, I have to close my eyes. But for Chandler, I think it's different. He from what I've seen, he has a lot of like mental awareness, and he makes a lot of mental targets for himself. You know, he's very mentally aware of where to kick and how hard to kick and stuff like that. I think that's very interesting. I'm very intrigued to see how he does. He said he was going to be touring the Bucs facility and getting with the special teams coordinator and learning about all the conditions in Tampa. So I think he'll be a good addition to us. I think he'll be a very good kicker. We signed him to a pretty decent contract, so we're committed to him for the next couple. We might be committed to him for the next couple of years. Obviously, we will see what happens. But all in all, I like that move as well. Next is Ryan Jensen. Now this move was, a lot of Bucs fans loved it because, as they said, it killed two birds with one stone, because we signed Ryan Jensen to be our center, and that also cleared up one of our guard positions, because in the scenario of, let's say we moved Ali Marpet back to guard without signing Ryan Jensen, well, then we would have had a hole at center and left guard. With this move being done, we only have one hole left in our offensive line, if you want to call it that, and it is left guard, which the Bucs will probably end up having J.R. Sweezy there, but we don't know yet. So really, Ryan Jensen filled two holes with one signing, which is very huge. Very huge. So now we have a starting center in Ryan Jensen. We have a starting right guard in Ali Marpet. You have DeMar Dodson at right tackle. You have Donovan Smith at left tackle. This offensive line definitely improved with that signing. A lot of people say, oh, we overpaid for him. We did make him the highest paid center in the league, to be fair. But I feel it was a necessity. He was the best pure center remaining in free agency, and I feel like the Colts were going to give him that much money anyway. So, in reality, this was a huge signing, and I feel it was worth the money because we're filling, again, two holes with one signing. I know I like to repeat points a lot during these videos, and I do apologize for that, but I can't stress how huge of a signing Ryan Jensen was, and I believe Bucs fans do tend to agree with me. But that's all the players that we signed from other teams. Now let's talk about players that we let go. Now it's very interesting, obviously. If you're not a Bucs fan and you look at these players that we let go, you would think, like, who cares? But as Bucs fans, we understand, like, oh, that guy was good depth, or oh, why did we let that guy go? So let's look at him real quick. So Evan Smith. I might have preferred to keep Evan Smith, honestly. If not as a starter, as depth, I feel he would have been a pretty good backup at the left guard position specifically. We would have had a little bit more safety there. We still might re-sign Evan Smith, but I feel we should have kept him. We should have kept him if we could have. You know what I'm saying? Because he would have been good depth. I feel like he wasn't terrible. I feel like he could have been fine. He still is up there in age, at age, I believe, 33. But I still would have liked to have him at depth. Joe Hawley, I don't really count because the dude's pretty much retired in a van and traveling the country. So that one doesn't count to me, but it sucks. I really like Joe Hawley, but I wish him nothing but the best in his travels. Chris Baker's the next one. Now, we released Chris Baker. We didn't... It's not like a scenario where we didn't re-sign him. We cut him. So we did let him go. And he went off and signed a deal with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm fine with that. I'm pretty much sick of Chris Baker. Lazy guy. Really just not good. He wasn't good for us. He wasn't productive for us. He wasn't motivated for us. Just overall terrible guy. Get him out of here. And I don't like Chris Baker, and it's fine. It's fine, you know. And Doug Martin's the next one, though. And this one's a little bit sad because Doug, he had a couple of really, really, really good years for us, and then just injuries and personal problems just plagued him throughout the rest of his seasons with Tampa, and we eventually got to the point where we had to let him go, and he has since signed with the Oakland Raiders. Now, if Doug can get healthy and he can get past his personal life issues, I feel he could be very good for the Raiders, but he has to prove that he can get past those issues, you know. He's kind of getting to the point where he's running out of time. He's 29 years old. He'll be 30 soon. And he's got to get to that. He's got to prove that he can play for a few more years and have productive seasons like he's had in the past. But next was Robert Ayers. Now, Robert Ayers, again, it's another kind of depressing one. We had to cut him to sign Vinny Curry, which Robert Ayers was our best pass rusher last season, and he was also pretty good in the run game. But I feel it was a move that needed to happen. It needed to happen. I believe he had 2.5 sacks to 2 sacks, and you just can't have that if you're our top pass rusher, literally. You can't have that. So I feel it was time for Robert Ayers to go. He was with us for a couple of seasons. The most sacks he ever had for us was 6.5, which isn't terrible. But if he's your top guy, your top pass rusher that isn't Gerald McCoy, that's not good. You need to have a little bit better, you know? So I believe it was time for Robert Ayers to go. I wish him nothing but the best. He may retire. He may go to a different team. He'll probably go to a different team. He was a great teammate, great in the community and whatnot, but it was time for him to go. Next is Clinton McDonald. Now, I'm really upset about this one because I really liked Clinton McDonald. He was a great community guy, great teammate, just all-around good guy. He was arguably the second best pass rusher behind Gerald McCoy when he did play. Injuries were a concern, but I'm really upset that we didn't re-sign Clinton McDonald. You know, I really would have liked to have him back. I wish him nothing but the best, and I'm sure he'll go to a team and be productive if he can stay healthy and, you know, stay on the field. I know the Bucs used him in a very rotational situational type guy, but when he was on the field, he made some noise, so kind of bummed about the whole Clinton McDonald one. Next is TJ Ward, though. Kind of bummed about this one, but at the same, kind of bummed about this one, but kind of like, okay, at the same time, because TJ Ward, he wasn't good for us in his one season that he played with us, but to his credit, he barely had any time to prepare, and he's proven that he can be good in the past. So maybe if we had him for a full off season, he could have done better, but he is getting up there in age. I believe he's 30 or 31 or something like that. So maybe if we give him a full off season, maybe he could have done better. And now we kind of don't have a starting safety next to Justin Evans. Yes, we have Chris Conte, but we don't have like a big name next to Justin Evans, and I feel like that's kind of a concern. Safety might be a little bit of an underlying hole for the Buccaneers. But then the final guy that we didn't re-sign is Charles Sims. Receiving back, pretty decent in my opinion. I would have liked him back, but wasn't to be, unfortunately. We have Chuki Rogers and Peyton Barber now still at running back. And they just felt that we didn't need Charles Sims, unfortunately. So did the Buccaneers fill all the holes that they needed to fill? Well, I feel that they, yes and no. They filled the trenches well. I feel they filled the trenches very well. All you really need now in the trenches is you need a left guard and you need a defensive end, and that's it. I feel like you can get that in the early rounds in the draft, specifically the first round. Cough, cough, Bradley Chubb or Quentin Nelson, please stand up. But aside from that, they did an okay job. Re-signing Brent Grimes was huge for the cornerback situation, but you need a second corner next to him. I like Vernon Hargreaves III, but I feel like he's going to need one more year to really get into his own groove, you know what I'm saying? I feel he does phenomenal in the nickel, and he does do phenomenal in press. Like a lot of guys have been saying, we should be playing more press coverage. And I feel that if he does do good, maybe he can be that number 2 corner. But we definitely need more depth. That's the big thing, is we need more depth. Because right now we have Javian Elliott and Ryan Smith, and that's it. We definitely need more depth, in my opinion, at the cornerback position. Because after Brent Grimes and Vernon Hargreaves, like I've said, you don't have much. And that's huge. So maybe the Bucs sign another corner. Maybe we sign E.J. Gaines. But probably not. We're not going to sign E.J. Gaines. I want us to, but we're not going to. So we'll probably end up signing another cornerback. We might bring back Rolando McClain. That might be the move. Safety, didn't do much for safety. You re-signed Keith Tandy. You have Chris Conte back as well. I feel like that's kind of what that's just kind of what they're doing. That's who they like. That's who they're going to keep. So no, it was okay. It was okay with the safety position. You have Justin Evans there. You have Chris Conte. That's probably going to be your starters unless we draft somebody. And it is what it is. There's still some decent safeties out there, like Eric Reed, I believe, is still out there, as well as Kenny Vaccaro. Maybe we sign Kenny Vaccaro. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Defensive end, like I said, Vinny Curry's huge. We still need another defensive end, and defensive tackle as well. We really just revamped it besides Gerald McCoy. So again, I really like this defensive tackle signings. Offensive line, again, same, just left guard. Running back's a huge one. We didn't really address running back. We didn't sign a single running back. I feel like we almost signed Jerick McKinnon until the bidding got too high. So we're gonna have to draft a running back. I don't think we're going to be signing like an Orleans Darkwa or DeMarco Murray or really any of the remaining free agent running backs. I feel like we're just going to keep Chuki Rogers and Peyton Barber. So it'll be really interesting to see who we draft, because that's going to be huge. Because are we going to do a committee, or are we going to have a feature back? What's going to happen? That'll probably depend on who we draft, or maybe we sign somebody. I honestly don't know. I don't think we are, but running back's still a huge need for the Bucs, and they didn't really address it. I know they tried to, but the bidding just got too high. But I feel like there still were some guys out there that they could have signed, you know, and there still are. I personally wouldn't mind DeMarco Murray myself, but I could understand why they would feel skeptical about the remaining running back free agents, but it's still a hole nonetheless. But overall, for this Buccaneers free agency, I would really have to give them like a B to a B+ grade. I really like most of the moves that they made, specifically defensive tackle. Keeping Brent Grimes was huge. I really liked the Vinny Curry signing, and I really liked the Ryan Jensen signing as well. As my TV shuts down, don't mind it. And I really like the Ryan Jensen signing, like I just said. I like re-signing Cameron Brate. I like re-signing Mike Evans. And all in all, we made some pretty smart signings. We didn't throw a ton of money out there like I thought that they were going to do. We did for 2 players, in Vinny Curry and Ryan Jensen, but we didn't. A lot of people are going to complain that we didn't sign Tyrann Mathieu, we didn't sign this player, we didn't sign that player. Well, I feel like we were pretty smart with how we handled it, and I feel that we have some good depth. We definitely built up the depth at certain positions that I was concerned about. But moving forward to the draft and maybe the last little bits of free agency, we need to get more cornerback depth, we need to get some running back depth, and we maybe need to get a new starting safety. I don't know, but we definitely need to get some more defensive end depth. That's our 4 holes right now, man, and we can address that through the remaining portion of free agency and through the draft. I'll make a whole other video talking about that. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I give the Bucs a B to a B+ in terms of their free agency grade. What do you guys give the Buccaneers free agency? Let me know down in the comment section below. And don't worry, I'm gonna try and do a lot of this for I'm gonna try and do this for the rest of the NFL, but we'll see. That's gonna be really hard to do, and I probably won't have time. But that's my Buccaneers free agency review. Again, let me know what you guys feel about it down in the comment section below. And we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, guys. We're almost there. We're like double digits away. So like this video, share it with your friends. You know, just get the word out as much as you can about this channel. If you guys have any Bucs fans who want to come on board and see what this channel's about, and maybe they like the content and subscribe, we're so close, and I really want to get there, because after that, like, we're throwing parties, okay? Like, it's gonna be great. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Again, let me know what you think about the Bucs free agency let me know what you think about the Bucs free agency down in the comment section below, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. But until then, goodbye for now, guys. See ya.